Hi there, welcome to the Photo Flunky Show, episode 90. I know, we're getting up there, right? Today's topic, we want to know, are you satisfied with your photography? Hi, my name is William Beem.
Hi, my name is William Beem.
And we really want to know if you're satisfied with your photography and the kind of things that satisfy you with photography. But before we get started, I want to let you know that show notes are going to be available at williambeem.com/episode 90. And you can get a transcript of the show there for free. Links to subscribe are there. And of course, we got a player at photoflunky.com. So you can listen to this episode again if you're not listening there already. And all of our other episodes are there. This is good because Lee's laughing at me right now. And I'm still trying to be professional and go on. But
I'm not professional.
No, she's not. And I want to let you know I've got a discount code for Mac Fun. And it's actually a really interesting time. If you're into Mac Fun, they are coming out with Windows versions of their products. So they've already announced and they've got a beta out for Luminar for Windows, which is really one of the coolest tools I've had to use in a long time. And they've got a beta that's free for use for Windows users right now. But when it comes out at the end of the year, if you're ready to buy it, I can save you $10 on that purchase price. Luminar and Aurora, my coupon code saves you $10, and other products it'll save you 10%. So the code is just my last name, Beem, B-E-E-M. And you can get there, just go to williambeem.com/MacFun. That'll get you to the right link. That is an affiliate code. I get a little bit of commission back, but also you save money. So it's like a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
They've also announced recently that there's an update to Aurora HDR, and that is also going to be coming out for Windows. So it's kind of really an interesting time. If you've been a Windows user and you're kind of jealous that all the Mac users had these cool tools and you didn't, well, now you're going to be able to have them too. And like I said, I can save you a little bit of money there. Why worry about being satisfied with your photography?
Well, why take photos if you're not?
You know, for some people, it's a job. Other people, it's a passion. And I've seen people go into, I think we're going to go to the latter half, people who do this for their passion. I've seen people get started in something with their passion and then they just kind of lose it.
I've gone through phases. I mean, I went through a stage where every few months I'd decide I was going to sell my camera. Not because I was fed up, but just because I was unfulfilled. It was lying there in a camera bag in the closet and untouched between trips or vacations. And I thought, well, do I really need this for once or twice a year? Well,
the reason why I think this is a valid question is, let's face it, photography is expensive.
It is.
You spend a lot of money on a camera, on lenses, and assorted accessories. Man, I'm having a hard time with my words today, aren't I? You're going to laugh at me a lot on the show, I can tell already.
No, I would never do a thing like that.
I mean, yes.
I already did.
I mean, look at me. I mean, I've got tripods, I've got flashes, I've got studio lights and soft boxes to go for those. I've got all this software, and I've got a tablet, for my post-processing, and probably other stuff I'm not even thinking about. I've sunk a lot of money into photography. You don't do something like that if you're not really enjoying it, or if you think you can buy your way to happiness, then I think you're kind of down on the wrong trail. Some people might think, well, if I buy this one more thing, I'll get the photos I want, and then I'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder, every once in a while, I see some people that are chasing satisfaction, and maybe they're getting there. Or maybe like you, they said, you know what, I'm not taking photos as often as I want. Is it really justified to have all this stuff?
Yeah. It wasn't like I was having a hissy fit with my camera or anything. I just looked at it and thought, I really don't use this enough. And I spend a lot of money on these things.
We were talking about this and we came down to, what is it that satisfies you? You started off doing yours for travel.
I did start doing it for travel, but the thing with travel is I was taking maybe one really expensive trip in a year, burning all my vacation days, going away for 3 weeks. I was really spoiled for choice with subjects, and I knew what I wanted to do. I had plans for the photos I wanted to use afterwards. The trouble I had was when I got back, in between, there's another 11 months and a week or two of the year where I really wasn't doing anything.
I know, and you told me that you'd go out with your brother, and you both were into photography. You both said, all right, let's go shoot. I said, yeah, it sounds great. What do you want to shoot?
I don't know. And then you'd kind of try and think of somewhere to go just so you could use your camera. And I think looking back, really for us, it was an opportunity to learn together and practice things together. But it really was social time. It wasn't about photography. That's what was at the heart of it. I don't think we saw it that way at the time. We kind of saw, well, we're photographers. the pleasure I got out of those trips was really hanging out together. I think I just recently deleted a whole bunch of raw files that were sitting on some SD cards I found because I thought they suck. I knew they sucked at the time, but I had a great time. The time wasn't about taking photos.
So there's two things we looked at as far as what satisfies you. One of them is, are you getting the quality of photos that you think you should be getting? Or maybe you've been chasing this for a while and thought, you know what, I'm not really improving, or I'm not getting to the level that I want to be.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of frustration that comes with that. Probably a lot of frustration that comes with that. But the other part is you haven't really defined your purpose.
Yeah, that's the core for me.
And I think that's really the core for most people is, and it may be why your photos aren't satisfying to you. It's like, what is your purpose?
Well, it's hard to be satisfied with your photos when they're lying on a memory card somewhere or stuck in the back of a hard drive or uploaded to Lightroom awaiting processing. That might never happen because you don't know what you're going to do with them. Taking photos just in case is fine if you have hobbies or purposes where those just in case things might save your butt sometime. Most of us don't do that.
No, and I think you and I both kind of found out that we do have a purpose now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, maybe we were doing it for the fun of photography. It was a nice and interesting hobby. But then, like you said, you collect all these photos and they're there and think, well, I don't really have anything to do with them.
Yeah.
So unless you want to make sure you share them with all your folks for a social purpose, if you don't have a purpose behind it, it kind of makes it hard to appreciate your photography because that purpose really is what drives your sense of completion. And I think that's where your satisfaction comes from.
Yeah.
So you had an example. You're taking photos now. We've mentioned this before. I call it product photography, but is it marketing or?
Do you know, it's probably a blend of a number of different things. And I think that's where I know that I'm free to enjoy my photography. It doesn't occur to me to try and categorize what I'm doing. I don't care. I'm just doing it. I just have a sense of freedom that I've never really experienced. That's kind of come up over the last, let's say, 6-8 months with my photography. And the more I feel free with no sort of pressure on me, the more I'm enjoying it. And the easier it is for these ideas to flow. They just come out of seemingly nowhere. And I keep thinking of things and seeing things or getting ideas, things that I want to do. And I get out there and I do them. And I've got it's almost like, sounds very hippie, but there's like a sense of peace in it. Whereas before I was really struggling through to justify things that I was doing. I think for me, the big difference was when I walked away from the technical side of things. There are things that you need to learn as a foundation, but it was probably about a year ago. I kind of looked at William and his vast knowledge and experience and expertise with this. He's really good at what he does. And I looked at my stuff, which is seemingly simple. And every time there was something else to learn, my attitude was like, I don't want to have to go and study something. I just want to take a photo. And I got to a point where I walked away. I think I even said to you, I'm pretty much ready to ditch the camera now. I don't have any desire to use it. Not because I hate photography, but because it's not doing anything for me.
And that was really bad for the podcast.
Well,
I'm just teasing
did we
you.
say that on the podcast?
No, we didn't say that at all.
I don't think I admitted that.
No.
But, I was using my phone. It wasn't a case of, and that's something I wouldn't do and I would never consider. I mean, a phone isn't a camera. That's,
you've kind of changed your view on that. And
I
honestly,
have changed it.
You've changed my view on that as well, too, because I know a lot of people, really like to dismiss iPhone photographers. They're not real photographers and that sort of thing. And maybe a lot of them aren't. But a camera is as good or bad as the person who's wielding it. And you've done things with your iPhone that most people just never consider simply because you've got that artistic eye and you know how to line things up in your composition. And it's there. It's like if I don't bring my Nikon with me, then there's a lot of shots I'm just not going to get.
I take a lot more photos with my iPhone than I do with my camera. But here's the thing. This is also where it comes into, what your purpose is. For me, it's really important. I need to take a photo or 6 or whatever the case may be at a certain time. I've got a time frame and I need to do something with that. I need to get it up live and posted. And I'm working with a limit. Now, if I had to do this with DSLR, even if I wasn't going into any fancy tweaking or anything, it's a whole lot more trouble to get the right lens, to get things, on a tripod if necessary. Then it's got to be uploaded to Lightroom. You've got to do stuff with it. I don't have time to do that in 20 minutes in the morning. I really don't. And I can do all this stuff with my iPhone. And you know what? It serves the purpose and it's absolutely fine.
Well, let's be more specific. We've mentioned before that you're a runner. You do endurance running. You've got your blog. It's carefreerunner.com. I'd encourage everybody to go to it. And we're going to be changing the theme out, so things are going to be mixing. But you've got a couple of things that you do. I mean, you go out for your run every morning, and when you come back all hot and sweaty and looking horrible, and that's when you take your photo.
I do.
Because that's what the other runners react and respond to. There's a whole community of runners that want to share on social media at the end of their run.
Yeah. And they want to see your ugly clothes and terrible socks and whatever.
Because if you don't look like you just ran 10 miles, they're really not going to buy into it. You don't go out there, with your makeup on and your hair just perfect and your freshly bought sporting clothes that have never had a single run.
Yeah, I didn't dry my nails on a run.
No. And it's Florida in summertime. I mean, you go out there just to stand and you start sweating already, especially in the morning. The humidity's bad. But this is the community that you're in, and this is what you're serving. So you've got the social media aspect of it that you can share and join that community there. And then you've got your blog where you have your daily journal plus your blog posts.
Yes.
So each of those needs some kind of message to share photographically.
Yes.
And that's driving your purpose. And you've really gotten very strongly into your photography as a creative outlet to share that message.
I have. And every day I think it's just the last idea I'm going to have. When do you run out of ideas? And they just keep coming. And
on the other hand, I would love my photography side. I don't really go out and post photos as much as I used to say, hey, here's the latest photo I took. This is my art and craft and all this stuff. But what I'm doing instead is I'm kind of translating that over to another site, which we've mentioned. It's called Orlando Local. And I'm taking photographs in and around Orlando to share with people to say, this is, what we've got here. Sometimes it's simple. It could be a GoPro snap or an iPhone snap. Sometimes I've got my DSLR out there and I'm trying to take something really creative in the Orlando area. But that's really what's driving my photography now is I've got a sense of purpose because I have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And I know I've harped on story a number of times, but it really is important that your photos do more than just say, hey, look how good I am. They say, it shouldn't be, in my opinion, it's not really about how good I am as a photographer. It's how well can I still tell the story and communicate something to another person.
That's right. And I mean, if you look at the needs that I have right now, I am doing a post daily over the course of 16 weeks. There is absolutely no way that I could do a header photo plus photos within the journal update and use my DSLR for it and turn out nice photos. I do take most, not all, but most of my header photos with a DSLR. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it, I have put in some that were just taken with an iPhone. They're absolutely fine. I have stopped fretting about being photographically perfect and started focusing on how does this communicate or give a hint or a taster about what's lying underneath the heading.
And let me bring up something else we've mentioned before. As a result of your photos, you work with other companies that have products in the endurance running space. They send out photos, for you to use in a promotion, and you look at them and say, well, I can do better than that. You create your own, and then suddenly they say, wow, we want to use that. You've actually had some of your photos that you just intended for yourself that other companies have come along and said, we would like to use that for our marketing material.
Yes.
And it's because you're driving the message home, and that's exactly what they need to do with their marketing. So you've got another business kind of coming up with not just the endurance running, but your photography is actually turning into, a marketing message for a number of companies in that space.
And it's kind of funny because I need to tweak the way that I look at things. I've never thought of using my photos, I don't want to say commercially, but or professionally, but, as an income. I take my photos for the sake of taking my photos. So I'm kind of, somebody comes and asks you, oh, we'd love to use that. I think, really? My photo? Okay, sure. Yep. Here you go. What size file do you want?
Now, on the other hand, back to my photography, I mentioned that I'm not doing as much trying to take things to show, okay, here's how good a photographer I am or aren't, depending on your taste. You may or may not like what I do. But I've got an idea for a gallery series that I would like to do. And we've spent most of our time right now pre-production, I'd guess, we're talking over what is this gallery going to be like? What are the clothes that the model's going to wear? What kind of look do we want? We're looking at backgrounds. We're looking at models and props and wardrobe and all the things that go into it. I haven't even picked up a camera yet, but I'm kind of excited about the idea of producing and directing a gallery series that I want to do.
It's a big project and it takes planning.
It does take a lot of planning. And I think I can also use that for either an upcoming ebook or training or some of the blog posts, because I'm going to run into problems along the way. I'm going to have to solve those problems. And that's something that I want to share.
Yeah.
Again, my sense of purpose is I really do love portrait photography. I've been doing some portraits, and now I want to kick it up a notch. I don't want to just go get one of the local models and then go to a park or something like that and take a shot. I want to do something that's more along the lines of kind of high-end fashion. That's really what satisfies me right now. And I think you've said what satisfies you. So what we're saying is to make sure that your photography satisfies you, you've got to figure out something beyond the photography itself. And what is the photography serving?
Yeah, what are you doing with your photos? I think we've touched on this before, but it really does matter. It gives you a sense of freedom, and you don't feel like you're being dictated to as to what you can do or should be doing with your photos.
Well, it kind of comes back to that little motto that I came up with a while back. It's like create, share, and celebrate. We're going through the process for my gallery series. We're going through the creation process. We're at the beginning stages of that. You're creating something every day and you're sharing something every day. And you know what? You're getting other people that are celebrating this stuff. They look at your photos and they're saying, wow. Sometimes, they're surprised. How did you do that? It's, oh, iPhone. Nobody cares what camera you use to create a photo. They look at the end result and say, does this do something for me? Whether it's emotionally impactful or it's got a message that's sending something through. You're managing that both with your DSLR and with the iPhone. And that tells me that it's really not, it doesn't matter what camera you're using.
Yeah. But also with the DSLR, because I'm using it more often now and just for quick projects or tasks, it doesn't feel like so much of a hassle to get it out and get things set up. You almost get yourself into a little routine. I've got some boards and some props and things that stay in a bag. I've got a tripod in the garage so I can go stand outside where the snake lives and take my photos. In daylight.
Where the snake lives.
Well, we've got the snake.
We got the snake
under the step. It's just nice to have everything together, and I kind of know what I need. And any extras, I just grab them, and I literally just grab a bag because I'm doing very kind of cropped, zoomed in, small, almost like think still life, where it's contained. So it is easy for me. I can throw my kit into the bag, take it out the back, and I seem to get much quicker at setting up and taking down the more I do it. So I don't have that kind of mental thing of, oh my goodness, is the battery charged? Is the card ready? Because I'm using it all the time. I know where things are. It's like watching your bank account. You know how much is in there. You kind of know where you stand at any given time.
And the snake isn't really that much of a problem. The problem is when I don't know where she is and I go outside with the puppies and then they run over and step on
and
over stuff.
And eat the tripod or something.
Something happened last night that tells me how much that you've gotten back in the satisfaction of your photography. I came home from our barbecue place, and while I was there, I bought a brownie. And the brownie was in some wax paper. It was wrapped up very nicely with some twine and a little, card. I don't know what you call it.
Something sweet shop or something.
Yeah, and it just said, brownie on it. I mean, the presentation was outstanding just with the brownie itself. And she looked and said, ooh. And then you went off and you got your stuff together. You got a cedar plank. You got your cloth. And then you did a photo shoot with my brownie.
Yes. Well, I just took 3 or 4 shots and
they look nice. You know what? I think I'm going to put it on this post so folks can see it.
Yeah, you should. But the point is that all the stuff was right there in a little bag. I mean, I stepped over, grabbed out 2 pieces of fabric. The cedar plank was standing right there with the fruit basket, which is where I leave it. Mm-hmm. Set it up. I had the lens I wanted on the camera. I just used what was there. Zoomed in, and it took me maybe 5 minutes, and then processing and uploading to do some light touching and convert it to JPEGs took me maybe 5 minutes more.
Yeah, I mean, you got done and had the photos before I was ready to eat the brownie.
Yep.
Being satisfied with photography, I think, is really important. It's not always a matter of the quality of what you're shooting. It's a matter of the purpose that you have and what you're serving. And I think that's what's really going to drive the quality up, because then you've got something to compare it against. You're not out there shooting, saying, oh, I took a picture of this, but I don't know if it's good or not. You shoot something for a purpose that you know, and then you can start to evaluate your subject and you say, I needed more light here. I needed to block off something there. I needed a splash of color here. That's what really propels and drives your photography forward. And I think that's why, you picked up the brownie and some of the other things that you're doing. You've got a sense of purpose for it. And then now it's like second nature to do this stuff. And you can knock it out, 15 minutes later, you've got a result.
Yeah, it gets quicker the more you do it.
Those are our tips. if you've got any comments on what it is that makes you satisfied with photography, or you know what, if you're not feeling it and you're wondering, is photography still satisfying? Please go ahead, leave us a comment at williambeam.com/episode 90, and we'd love to see what you've got to say, and we'll tell you whatever we think. Thank you very much for joining us on the Photo Flunky Show, episode 90. You can find a transcript of the show there at williambeam.com/episode 90. And of course, there'll be links for subscribing to the show on iTunes, Google Play Music, and some other sites. Also, don't forget, if you'd like to save some money on MacFun products, use the coupon code BEAM. That's my last name, BEEM. Just go to williambeam.com/MacFun, and you'll save 10% on most products. You'll save $10 on Aurora or Luminar. And if you're a Windows user, go ahead and try out the beta. And if you like it when it comes out at the end of the year, you can save some money. Thanks so much. We'll see you again next week.